Exactly.
Just before we came on the air, there was a report that surfaced from NBC saying federal investigators have uncovered no information directly linking you to the lane closures in Fort Lee that erupted into Bridgegate. You talked about that, or at least the legislative investigation, a little bit at a press conference this afternoon. I'm guessing this comes as no surprise to you.
No, listen, I mean, I'm obviously we'll wait to hear whatever the authorities have to say, but certainly this is a report that comes as no shock to me because, as you know, Eric, the day after these events were uncovered, I came out and told people that I had no knowledge of this going on and no involvement or any role in its planning. I told everyone that, and when I stood for an hour and 50 minutes and took questions at a press conference, I came on, asked the governor then I think the next week, and we spent a good amount of the time that night talking about the same thing. And so, no, I'm not surprised, but you're always grateful to hear that the things that I said appear like they're going to be confirmed, and if these reports are accurate, and the things that were said in the Mastro report, which was quite excoriated in certain corners, now appear to be being supported if these reports are true. So, I don't want to overreact to it because I'm not surprised by it. But I'm hoping that we can start to focus on things that are important to all the people of the state of New Jersey.
Well, it is important to note that the U.S. attorney is not commenting officially. The NBC story is attributed to unnamed sources. As a former U.S. attorney, no investigation is over until it's over. And while the sources have indicated there was, at least to this point, no culpability on your part, that does not necessarily clear those individuals that were with your administration at the time, many of whom believe orchestrated this.
No, listen, and as I've said all along, I took action very swiftly and directly, and now we'll let the chips fall where they may in terms of those facts. But all I can speak to, Eric, is myself. And as to myself, I told the people of New Jersey directly and honestly on January 9th that I had no knowledge of this and no role of any kind in the planning or execution of it. And if this report is true, then I'm glad that there'll be another source in addition to the Mastro report and the legislative hearings, which have shown nothing different either, that vindicates what I said to them. Because what matters most to me is that the people of New Jersey know that I tell them the truth. They don't always have to agree with me, and they don't always agree with me. And it doesn't mean that we'll never make a mistake, because obviously that's not true either. But I've told them the truth.
John Wisniewski, who's the chairman of the legislative committee that has been looking into this whole thing, still claims there are documents your office hasn't turned over, has given no indication that he is going to give up the legislative investigation, hasn't commented directly on this source out of the U.S. Attorney's Office. You had some pretty strong statements today.
Well, I just think it's, listen, I don't want to repeat myself from what I said this afternoon, except just to say that I think it's unseemly, the leaking that's been going on.
From the
legislative committee. Yeah, it's unseemly. And he's in charge. So I hope he takes responsibility too.